everyone, and welcome to a slightly different video. As you can see, I've got loads of random gear here, and it's because I'm in Germany for the Nürburgring 24-hour live event, and yeah, GT give us loads of free stuff, so let's check out some of that stuff right now. So, check all this stuff out. So we've got a coat first. Absolutely nice coat, although I'm not sure how well this is going to go in my hand luggage, to be honest. Got some racing boots. We're basically sponsored by Puma, if you haven't guessed already. Got some racing gloves. Racing jacket with name on. That's actually a sticker, believe it or not, but it looks actually like it's a part of the jacket. T-shirt for the Manufacturers Cup, which is tomorrow. We get this nice, lovely model of an AMG GT. That's obviously just a plan, and we get a little bag as well, which some of this came in. As you can see, there's quite a lot of stuff there. And then we also have, of course, driver briefing. So lots on penalties, stuff like that. But this is the race that actually counts. So this counts for everything, basically. So it's a semi-final race format, and it's today. So Red Bull X 2014 Junior car at Nürburgring GP track. We have 8 laps of racing. That time's already changed, so it's 10-minute qualification, no practice. But check out that tyre and fuel consumption. That is pretty insane. It says we don't need to pit, but the tyres are pretty ruined at the end because we had a quick go yesterday. But basically, qualifying top 3 in that, you make the final, which then has loads of races. When you check out all this, 4 races, which is Saturday night, and then you've also got the manufacturers. But again, it's really weird because if you come first in that semi-final, you get the first choice of the manufacturers that we can pick. So Audi, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Nissan, Subaru, McLaren, Renault and Ferrari. And we get 2 endurance races essentially, where you got to do driver changes in each. So you get requires 2 pit stops. This one's an hour, which you sort of expected this layout because it's the Nürburgring 24-hour event, and that's where we are. So let's go find out what's happening for the rest.
So, sorry this is slow mode because I did this really quickly. As you can see, this is the food area. So this is where we, as drivers, could just lounge about if we wanted to, and things like that really, and just enjoy ourselves, as you see, with all the stuff on the floor. So through that door right in front of you there, that's straight through to the grandstand, and I'll show you some clips of that at the end of this sort of vlog video. You'll get to see some of the racing. Then we had the TV where you could see the racing. They even had F1 on there at some points. And then, as I swing the camera around to the right, you'll also see a game pod. Didn't have the same version of Gran Turismo as in the as the actual racing area, unfortunately. But at least you could have a bit of fun. And yours couldn't save it either, so you had to start from fresh every day. But let's now have a look at the Nations Cup semi-final, where some of the action did kick off already. So guys, let's look at the Nations Cup semi-final. So obviously, there's going to be 3 videos with the Germany Nürburgring. Hello, by the way. I don't normally wave to camera in that you can actually hear me and see me, but hopefully I'll do more of these because I kind of like these. But even so, let's jump to this. So we're going to look at the Nations Cup semi-final now, and then we're going to look at some of the racing and a bit more vlog stuff from Germany. And then the manufacturers video is going to be the next one, manufacturers final. Obviously you can see we're in that video now, but this is to get the highlights of the semi-finals, because you haven't seen or know a lot about the semi-finals. You saw quick highlights which were commentated on very quickly at the event. So you've no idea how the Nations Cup final ended up being the Nations Cup final. You know a little bit from the commentary, but not actually the perspective of being there. So I can explain it a little bit more, and a little bit more of the background between the different countries as well, and things like that. And then obviously we've got the Nations Cup final, because we do qualify for that, of course, as you're very well aware probably if you watched it. I hope you did watch it, because this is an awesome stream. Manufacturers and Nations Cup, absolutely awesome. So that's going to be the final video. And both the manufacturers and Nations Cup final, it's like a review from my perspective, so we're not going to watch everything, but I will tell you little bits that you probably don't know because you don't catch it on stream. The commentators are busy commentating, and you'll get my personal perspective of literally what happened at the time, why it happened that way, and you'll find out how much practice we really got, because especially in the manufacturers, we didn't get a whole lot. So yeah, that's to come. But now we're going to look at the semi-final of the Nations Cup. So first up is going to be what I would probably consider the strongest lobby out the three. They didn't split the countries up. They literally kept us like together. So UK had 5 guys in their lobby. The French had 4. So let's jump straight to that first of all. So let's have a look at the grid. So we've got P. Lenoir, that's Snake. Then we've got Duval, who's Afo, Mangano, who's Giorgio, Shut, Desmania, Garnier, who's TRL Aug. Trying to remember these names. And so on and so forth down there. We've got all sorts of different people. But it's a strong lobby, as you just heard from even just those 5 names I've said. It's a very strong lobby, this. So we didn't know what was going to happen. This was the first race of them all. And it was a strong one. And I was kind of glad I wasn't in this one. Very fast qualifying times. Now the thing is, we wasn't fully sure how the fastest was decided, because it said the Nations Cup final and stuff like that was decided on the fastest time. That could mean anything, couldn't it? It could mean fastest race time, fastest lap, or fastest qualifying lap. So it was fastest qualifying lap. These guys had very fast qualifying laps, not the fastest though, but everyone was learning each time, so it was kind of a bit awkward. And there was so much like weighted on this one that it was too weighted on this race, and the qualifying for this like basically sorted everything out for the rest of the tournament. Car choices for Nations Cup final, grid position for Nations Cup final, manufacturer's choice for the manufacturer's final. Whole load of stuff decided just by this one qualifying session that we had. And then obviously you're going to make top 3 in the race in order to get through to the final. So there's quite a lot riding on this here. So let's kick off as they get ready for the start, of course. Now you would have heard some of the stuff here already. As you can see, some good starts, some bad starts as they headed towards the first corner, of course. I wasn't sure whether, so let me just pause it here for a second. I wasn't sure whether the French guys would go at it each other initially in this race, or whether they would literally lead one by one. So the UK guys are sort of, we weren't going to push each other if we were like 1, 2, 3 and had a gap, because there was no need. Why risk it? We get 1, 2, 3, we get through to the final. So I wasn't sure what was going to happen with the first 2 at least, but I know Mangano or Giorgio, we'll call him Giorgio because we know him as Giorgio. We've seen Giorgio obviously on GT Sport, and he's my teammate actually in manufacturers as well. He's a bloody quick guy. So through here we go. If you look up ahead, Giorgio goes for the move, does contact there. Obviously that bunches up a few of the guys, and as you see, it's all very close. Now this is the one thing I like about the Nations Cup, is that it's all one make, so it's about driving. It's not about silly strengths and weaknesses, all about driving. Although we had tyre wear and fuel wear. Tyre wear was insane at like times 18, but even so, as you can see, it's so close here. And the French went 3, 1, 2, 3. How insane is that with Giorgio in 4? So obviously the third guy couldn't really rest on his levels too much, Continue on, obviously we've got Tasmania in 5th place there as well. As you can see, they're still fighting, and this was like the story. They were actually fighting constantly here, which bunched them up even more and meant it was very, very, very close. As you can see, look at this. Now track limits was game penalties only, so you know the rules at Nürburgring GP. You can run wide, especially here, but here's more natural. I see a bit of oversteer there. As tyre wear happened, as tyre wear was happening, obviously the car's got a lot more oversteer in these races. So as you can see at the moment, Pilanur has gone. We've got Garnier, Duval, Mangano and Schutz top 4. Unfortunately, check this out. There is a penalty at the chicane, and check that out. He got a penalty. So Afo goes towards the lead. You've got Giorgio trying to get in there as well. So on the right side, you have to take your penalty as well before the finish. Otherwise you get additional penalties from the stewards. But look at the top left. Tasmania just gets in. I mean, it's by the tiniest amount in from that short penalty. Unbelievable stuff there, really. Unbelievable racing. I wish you guys could watch this whole race, or all the races, because it was interesting, and every single one was interesting in that action. So it's amazing they didn't stream it, but obviously they were practicing on the day for the manufacturer's final, which is the stream we're on now. So next up on the old vid races was the UK guys. So once we jump over there, cracking race by these guys, by the way. If you're any of you watching, really fair play for racing like this. Unbelievable stuff. Really was. So, we're getting an interview from Afo. We'll just wait for Afo to finish. Bloody fast is Afo. We've seen him in project cars as well, of course, as Gran Turismo. But obviously, we've seen Afo in Gran Turismo a lot. As you can see, it was busy on the old stage. And you see the results there. So this leaderboard, by the way, was really nice. This is in-game, by the way. They literally all they did go to results, and the results came up like this. Cracking little screen. I hope that's actually in-game as well. I've not been in a lobby in ages. If it is, well played GT, because it looks amazing. So second race. So here we go. Let me just explain the grid here. So we got Pumpumku on pole. We got Force Ubi in second. Obviously got me in third. We got Manu Rodri in fourth. The Polish guy, bit of an unknown. Same with Nikolai. I don't really know their usernames. Then we've got Cuba Tom, M Thomas, McLaren, and then the Belgium guy who's awesome. XQ. The guy with 1 million letters in his account name, like unbelievable amount. But him and M Thomas were actually pad users, but obviously they're on the wheel, so obviously they're going to be a bit less. They're not going to be as good here because they're pad users at the end of the day. And I know that transition. If you remember GT Academy 2011, if you followed me even back then, I got the fastest time in the world on a pad. I then had to jump to a wheel and learn as fast as I can because it is hard. It is really hard. So let's get on with the race. So look at Nikolai first in 6th place. He gets an unbelievable start here. Look, you can see him there to the right. I sort of head over there and then I suddenly see this on the radar. So I move over, but then realise I've got to give him a bit of space there as the track comes in. So I gave him just enough space. He goes up to 4th place, which is a cracking move. I gave him enough space. I was worried the stewards might look at that, but it was fine. I thought it was fine, but you have to worry about this. Because the FIA are watching, they had 2 official FIA people there watching. So any penalties you saw on the streams were applied based on Polyphony Digital's penalty stewards and the FIA. They were watching and they were talking to each other, explaining what would happen, what should happen, what penalties to give, etc. So it was serious, and we didn't get a lot of practice. I'm not sure I ever mentioned the practice. We had 1 session on the first day for a quick 20-minute go. Not really knowing that this was going to be, that important, basically. So, pretty insane. As you see, Williams has gone into the lead, Pumpku down to 2nd place. I'm in 3rd. So, at the moment, I'm happy. I'm happy in 3rd place because that's a qualification spot. Get to third. So let me just pause it here. So you can see now Manu Rodri has been fighting with Nikolai for a while, and you can see the front three. So us three up front. We've pulled away. So at this point, I'm actually going casual. At this point, I'm not too bothered about fighting Pumpumku, which is why the gap is what it is, 6 temps. I was just casually going about my day at that point, not too worried, because I knew there was a massive fight going on, but I wasn't paying attention too much to it. As you see, it's the 3rd lap in. So here's that move that Manu Rodri does. So through there. So it's very dangerous corner, that corner. Rounds the inside. So he's going to get that position there, which is pretty awesome. So we continue on. And if you look now, if I pause it now, Manu Rodri caught up to me bloody quickly. So the very next lap. It was lap 4. I was coming out of this section here. So I was just come out of this right-hander, right? And I'm just looked behind me about this point here before the hairpin. And suddenly I saw Manu Rodri right behind me. I was like, what the hell? Where did 2 seconds disappear from? Because obviously I was just driving casually at that point. So suddenly I was like, oh crap, I am going to have to absolutely go beast mode here to catch up to these front 2 guys. As you see, I'm 10th down at the moment, so I've got a lot to gain. I was still getting slipstream, thankfully, but obviously I've got to worry about that. And Manu Rodri was racing so fair and clean as well, so a big shout out to that dude, man. He's really friendly as well, so if you ever see him, just give him a shout out. But come into this corner, watch Pumpumku, and Ed nearly does this as well. So come into this first corner, they turn in. And just cuts it there. So I look like I'm going to rear end him, but actually I'm braking. I brake slightly late, but not too late. So he gets a penalty. So I'm thinking, oh my god, thank goodness for this, because you've got to take a penalty either on this lap or the next. Otherwise, you get a huge penalty at the end. So they were really enforcing that as well. So you see him take the penalty. So I go through. You see Manu Rodri go for the move on the inside, pulls back in. I say he was racing absolutely clean as a whistle here. Could have gone for the move there, but maybe just for, okay, I can keep this position. Jimmy said I looked calm and collected in this race. I was constantly thinking, a lot of these guys are new to all of this live stuff. Obviously, I've been to quite a few now. I feel like a veteran and an OAP. I think I've been to over 10 GT events, like live events, whether I'm helping, competing, or doing whatever. I still have a go. So I get used to it. So I am actually thinking about what is happening in this race at this point. Trying to think where I need to be, what I need to do to make sure I get top 3. Because at this point, again, we still were unsure with the fastest. So I did want to continue on. But because if we fight, we lose race time. So if it is fastest race time, oh boy, we can get up there, get some of the best choices. So we continue racing. So look at this now. We're getting really close to Ed, but this Manu Rodri lost it out of that corner. So you might think, why did he lose it there? Now the thing with this car, as I said, and you can see it in the top right corner, 18 tyre wear. My god, the tyres go down quick in this thing. So, you know, the best will lose the cars here. Even Afo said it in his interview, the cars get very slippy at the end. So as you see, I caught up to Ed. One kind of nice thing about this extreme tyre wear is I'm good with my tyres, or I think I am at least. And I was going so much faster than everybody else. Faster. Pumpumku caught us up again. Very hard to overtake in these cars, especially when it's one-on-one, because obviously you got to get the slipstream, you got to get into place. I wasn't too bothered about overtaking Ed for a lap or so, mainly because he's, as I said, UK 1-2, 1-2-3, we were fine. On the last lap, I did start to push a little bit and thought maybe I could have a cheeky move, which is why I got really close to Ed. But I wasn't going to go for an ultimate dive bomb. It was just be a clean move if I got it off. So if you look, I get very close towards the line there. So it's a 10th in it. Pumpumku managed as well. So, you know, fair play to Ed. And that's Ed there. That isn't Kevin Ritchley. Kevin Ritchley, believe it or not, is Beloff. And he does mention here as well that, you know, he wasn't under as much pressure because I was behind him. And we did talk about this. It was good for countries to talk to each other to get the idea. And he says that here.
You'd feel a bit of pressure, but the guy behind me's from my country, so I thought maybe he'd go a bit more easier on me than if it was someone else.
And I did for a while until the last lap, and then I thought I'd have a go. So, top 4 in this one qualify. So I can tell you now, Patrick on pole position, who's for us, he'd already qualified because he got the fastest qualification time. Just to explain my qualifying lap, I lost half a second on one corner. I know what it is now, but obviously the fact that, once again, we've got to get our fuel down to the bloody minimum for one lap qualifying. And even for us said it, he said he got lucky, he just managed to get an extra lap where the fuel was low, so he managed to get a faster time. This bloody fuel is annoying. Just the fact that you've always got... If you could select it as you leave the pits, I wouldn't mind as much in qualifying. But the fact that the whole thing is just dominated by it is horrible. So this grid again, I think these two were stronger lobbies than our UK one. So we had Fotherras in first, we've got Skippy in second. And then they've got all the Germans all the way down there. We've got Nisman in there. You know, there's lots of guys in here that are quick as well. So let's watch this race as well. So top 4, as I say, because Fotherras got the fastest. So he doesn't have to. He could come last, I think, and still qualify. So Skippy goes down the inside there, and it gets very tight very quickly with these guys as they continue on out. I just realised this is a really long video, so apologies if this is super long, but I think hopefully you've enjoyed this. As you see, Skippy and Fotherras pulled away a little bit. That's I'm not sure whether he lost the rear there, Skippy, because that went out way wide. So through there we go. See, that's a normal line to me, that through that corner, so that is fair game. As you see there, we've got Kevin Ridgely and Bushman fighting each other. Don't have to, but again, the nationalities fighting each other here for good racing. Ridgely around the outside at the hairpin, unbelievable move there. As you can see, Fotherras going for the move on Skippy. As I say, all these races were super entertaining. I wish they could streamed all of these races. So hopefully they do that in the future. I'd say it's their first big test, this one, which is why they didn't stream it. So going around the right-hander, you just see the Germans are catching up here. Skippy going for the move on Fotherras here. Round the outside again. That's some awesome moves going on here. Absolutely awesome. As once again, Fotherras on the inside. You can see the Germans are right there now, and they've got a big enough gap now to 5th place where they can actually have the battle and actually have the fun. So Skippy on the left, Fotherras on the right. We've got Beloff, which we're on board with. Chose yellow. I should have chose yellow, really. Getting the move on Fotherras here. Going for the move on Skippy. Doesn't quite work out. So they go through the left. Remember, tyre wear is a bit of an issue here. As you just see. I'm not sure whether Skippy lost the rear slightly, but through there, Beloff goes. Tries to go for the move on Skippy again. But Skippy wasn't having Beloff go around the outside there. So Beloff sort of pulled out of it a little bit. But it looked so awesome. So awesome, this racing. There was a huge crowd behind as well watching this because it was good racing. And that's what one mate racing does. It's brilliant, and I think that's why Nations Cup should stick to one mate racing. And as you see there, we've got Skippy, Fotherras, Bushman, and believe it or not, Ridgely got a penalty on the chicane as well. But obviously top 4 go through. It makes it easily there into the final. Me and Beloff were having a laugh because we were the slowest 2 qualifying times, so we end up with the slowest cars. So, you know, obviously Beloff got the choice of 2, and then I ended up with the last one. So yeah, it wasn't the greatest for us in the final, but we still had some good fun, I think. So I hope you enjoyed those little clips of the Nations Cup semi-final and my perspective, and hopefully that's come across and you understand a little bit more about what went on there in those races and what was happening and why perhaps I chose to do what I did in certain places and why other countries didn't choose to do what they did. As I say, UK did work together a little bit versus other countries which didn't, like France. France could have had a 1, 2, 3 but ended up with only 1 guy going through. Germany had 2, so it was only Germany and the UK who got 2 through. So, you know, we did alright as a UK team. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave you with some more clips of the Nürburgring and the racing that went on there. But I hope you return for the manufacturer's analysis. It won't Well, it might be as long as this actually, but there'll be a lot more video playing rather than me just pausing, because these are the highlights. I'm looking at the highlights of the semi-final here, so I've got to pause it a lot. But I'd say here's some clips from the actual Nürburgring racing, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Jetzt soll es mal allen vorbeifahren, die der Stadt noch sind, aber auch den Seelenbürger mit eingeschrieben. Da gibt es den Glück, das heißt, dieser Deutschland mittlerweile